Hoy voy a entrevistar a Christian Hecker. Nació en un pequeño pueblo de Alemania y a día de hoy es el fundador de una empresa valorada en más de 5.000 millones de euros. Estamos de camino a sus oficinas, estamos en Berlín, para preguntarle cómo ha conseguido llegar hasta aquí. Bueno, estoy ya por aquí en las oficinas de Republic, tengo a Christian a mi lado, vamos a empezar la entrevista y de verdad que espero que aprovechéis este vídeo ya que es algo pues que no se puede conseguir todos los días. How are you, Christian? Nice to meet you.
Good, thank you for coming to Berlin.
Yeah, it's a really pleasure having you in my channel, and I would like to ask you what's the amount of money in assets that you have in your broker right now, Trade Republic?
So we started 2019 and now 5 years later we are 4 million clients administrating over 35 billion euros of assets, which in fact makes us the largest brokerage firm in Europe.
Amazing, congratulations for that. And in your personal life, where are you from? Did you grow in a rich family for creating that broker, or how's your history?
Yeah, so I think I would have never thought to be either in banking or in tech when I was young. In fact, I grew up in Western Germany near a city called Dortmund. They're actually playing against Barcelona now, and they've played against Madrid horribly. In a very rural town, small town. My father was a car dealer, used car dealer. My mother did like a small clothing shop. So I was as far away from banking and the glamorous world of Silicon Valley as you can imagine. After school, I graduated in philosophy, right? So really went down the university path. And then somehow I ended up in investment banking. So I went to a big investment bank, Merrill Lynch in Frankfurt. And then in 2015, I met my co-founder, Thomas, who was studying physics at that time. And we got talking about what's happening in the world. And we thought that there's a lot of disruption happening in banking and that the pension gap is a big topic. And now we're here. So it was a life of very surprises.
And you told me that you studied philosophy
Right.
and history of art.
Right.
And you changed to the
Yes.
to the banking world.
Yes.
Why did you do that change, that drastic change?
So I think when I came from school, I thought that philosophy is a great way of broadening your horizon, right? And reading books. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to do else, right? So I started philosophy, then went into some minors in history of art. And I think somehow I recognized that this is the fastest way of becoming a taxi driver, right? One of the best well-paid taxi drivers, well-educated taxi drivers you can think of. And then I found myself in a workshop called Banking for Non-Bankers of Deutsche Bank. And this workshop resulted into an internship at Deutsche Bank. And I was getting there in the tower up in the, 20th, 30th floor and looking left and right, all of a sudden the people were so different than from philosophy, like driven, numbers, doing so many exciting topics. And I kind of fell in love overnight into this, right? And then never left the industry somehow.
And you worked for Bank of America?
Yes.
What things you find in working for Bank of America that you didn't like, that you're trying to change and achieving to change right now with Trade Republic?
So I think it was investment banking, M&A, right? And I did a lot of industrial transactions, right? Or pharma transactions. So really nothing related to tech, nothing related to finance. And then as a German, I was staffed on the IPO of Rocket Internet, which was back in 2015, one of the hottest tech IPOs we had in Europe, right? And then I was going here to Berlin to meet the Rocket Internet management. And again, it was like looking left and right, people were not wearing suits, but shorts, and decisions were done very, very swiftly. And everybody was young and ambitious and cool. And like back in the days in the workshop, I fell in love with startups, I fell in love with technology. And I remember till it was yesterday, going back with a plane, I thought to myself, oh my God, they're doing the future. Now I'm doing the past, right? And so I think then that motivated me to go into startup. And I mean, many things I learned in investment banking helped me today to navigate the challenges in being a founder, right? Of being numbers focused, of being really details driven when it comes to some things. And so I think we took a lot of the good things of investment banking here, but I think we try to have a more healthy work ethic, a more healthy culture, so people can really run the marathon over years and don't burn out after a couple of years.
I'm sure that having that kind of mission, super ambitions, it's super nice, but it's also super hard for the regulators to understand
Yes.
what you're doing and creating something that it's an old industry that it's so
Right.
hard to enter inside. What was the most hard things that you had to do for creating trade?
So I can say you first that till today everything is very hard. There's never been an easy phase in doing this. But let's go maybe back to 2015. We just founded Trade Republic and we needed money. And so I was pitching to investors the idea that people in Europe who historically never invested into stock market would all of a sudden start investing, right? And I would pitch to investors that me as a 25-year-old would be able to found a bank in Germany, which historically is one of the hardest regulatory environments, right? And everybody called it bullshit. And we would, for 5 years, not come close to any investment, right? So for 5 years, we were bootstrapping everything. And we were getting a tiny bit of money from angel investors, 50,000 here, 100,000 there. So we've basically been bankrupt every quarter. And during that time, we still figured out we need to be a bank, we need to be regulated, right? And so I think Trade Republic is one of the very few fintechs out there where we, the two founders, have really written the banking application ourselves. So I can today say from the 1.2 thousand pages of application, I've written myself 200, 300, 400 pages, right? And try to teach me the stuff themselves. So to your question, I think, because we have such a deep appreciation of regulatory matters and this authentic understanding of it, till to this very day, we never had big problems with a regulator, unlike many other fintechs maybe. And that's why if you look behind you, we got this full banking license hanging on our wall.
You had a super big success in Germany,
Right.
quite fast. Do you think that regulation is really what did that Trade Republic works so good in Germany?
It wasn't a fast success, right? It took 5 years to come to that point where we could launch, right? And to be honest, I think during these 5 years, I thought we would be maybe a company of 100,000 customers, maybe 200,000 customers. I could have not thought that we would become multi-million customers across Europe, right? I think that's not how you think as an early founder. But yes, I think we always wanted to build a platform where people could build wealth. And for me, it was, since the very first day, clear that to build something where people would store their wealth, you need to be highly regulated, like never shortcut on regulation, right? And you need to be a beautiful product with a great technology behind it. So at Trade Republic, we have not bought a core banking system. We built it ourselves. To this very day, I approve every single screen in the app before it goes out to our customers. So we're incredibly product-focused, product-obsessed, because we believe that the user experience combined with impeccable regulation is the number one key to convince people to store their money with us.
How are you growing in other countries that it's not Germany, like
Right.
Spain, France, Italy?
I think many people tell you that going to different European markets is tough. And then obviously you are successful in Germany, and then you go to France, you go to Spain, you go to Italy, and you think it's going to be fine, right? It's a great product, we have a price advantage, a product advantage, it's going to work out. Now today, 3 years later, I can tell you international success is literally a fight for the knife in the mud. You need to understand every single market, you understand the customers, their needs, their requirements, regulation, right? And eventually you need to build up trust, and that takes a lot of time. So I'm very excited to say that now in Spain we are growing extremely fast, right? I think we're the fastest growing brokerage player in the country. And we have hundreds of thousands Spaniards being happy customers with us and then spreading the word to others. We're even now in the TV campaigns with our interest offering, right? So it's a market now picking up. But to come to that point, it took us 2.5 years, 3 years to get there, right? But we're not done yet. We have this idea at Trade Republic that we will not go to America. We will not go to Southern America or Asia. Our market is Europe. It's actually continental Europe, not even UK. And now we want to go deep in every single European market. And for the last 2 years, we invested a lot into infrastructure, a lot into local regulation, that in Spain next year we want to offer a Spanish IBAN, right? The Spanish tax service to people, right? Even mutual funds and other stuff, right? So we really want to go deep into the market and create the most local offering you can find and then match what the incumbents are offering.
Yeah, it will be amazing to have all of that news. And what do you think that it's a great investment strategy for a person living in Spain or in
Yes.
other country in Europe with a like normal job
Yes.
that can save some money each month?
I'm a person, and maybe this is coming back from my philosophy days, where I think complex problems deserve a simple answer, right? Because many people tell you investing is so hard and so complex and there's so multiple strategies. Somebody worked in investment banking and now for the last 10 years, every single day thinking about how should you invest your money. I can tell you it's quite easy. Every investor has only two superpowers. Diversified and compound. Diversified and compound. So that means basically that you are diversifying across the most number of companies, right? And compound means that you just do it month by month by month. Because then you are averaging out the buy-in price effect. So I can tell you today the best solution for 9 out of 10 people in Europe is an ETF savings plan on the MSCI World. The MSCI World means basically the largest 1,000 customers on earth in every given moment in time. And a savings plan means basically you're doing this month by month by month by month by month. And so statistically speaking, that's the most predictable way of growing your wealth materially on the next 30 years, right? And so investing comes down to one very simple question. Every morning you wake up, you brush your teeth, and you ask yourself, do I believe that the world economy is going to grow in the next 30 years? Yes or no? It's a very simple question. And everybody has a feeling on this. And if the answer is yes, you should keep on going with your ETF savings plan. If the answer is no, you should take your money and make a party. Because to be honest, if the world economy is not growing in the next 30 years, your pension is not the problem, right? Then the world has different problems than this. And I think investing can be that easy. And by now it's not a secret. We see millions of young people, first-time investors, doing exactly this on a month-by-month basis in almost every European market. And so we're very proud in helping them.
I totally agree with your idea and that strategy. And in your personal case,
right.
I don't know if you can share, what was your portfolio, investment portfolio?
Sure.
Because you told that that's super nice for 9 to 10% in
right.
Europe, but maybe if you have a lot of money, you
right.
need to do other kind of
yes.
strategies.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of money. It's a lot of Excel money, which is not really there, right? No, but jokes aside, so as I told you, I'm growing up in Western Germany, a very small town, and my focus in high school was mathematics and politics. So as an 18-year-old, I wanted to be very smart. So I went to the local bank, and I had not much money, 3,000 euros. And I told the bank, when I was just getting 18, I want to invest my money. And the banking advisor sold me a discount certificate on the Eurostoxx index. And back then I thought it's a great idea, it's a great product. Eventually the Euro crisis happened and I lost all my money. So all my life savings, it's a true story, I lost with that first banking product I've ever bought, right? And the funny anecdote is that the banking advisor was my football trainer, so the same person, but that's a different story. So basically I think I did a really big mistake when I was young, right? A complex product, high cost. And since then, I had no money to invest. So during university, I got a scholarship, no money. And then in investment banking, you're not allowed to invest because of all the compliance rules, right? So the second time in my life I could invest my money was when we started Trade Republic. And since today, I have 2 or 3 ETFs. Like I told you, it's a savings plan. This is all my money into it. And just next to it, I have 11 shares of Borussia Dortmund. You know, it's my favorite soccer team. It's a horrible investment, but I tend to believe it's an emotional dividend I get from this. But yeah, the truth is all my money is into ETFs and maybe a stock once or twice if I believe into it. But I'm a big believer in doing what you preach.
I totally agree, and I think that it's super nice that you invest about what you
right.
really think that's the way, yes. And you're really a stock market guy, so you follow.
And I don't do investment advice, so don't buy Dortmund shares. It's not a good investment.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's important to enjoy the money and buy something that you really like. Yes. And there are a lot of people that don't want to start investing because they are afraid maybe about a crash, something that you told me in the product that yes. you bought. What do you think that it's a nice strategy to protect against a crash in the stock market?
If you zoom out, I think you always get this crash question. And historically, people have suffered a lot from crashes. But let's maybe just take a second talking about how people would invest in the past and how we invest today. So in the past, you would get single stocks with high transaction fees, and to rebalance your portfolio was very cumbersome, right? So people in the 70s, 80s, or 90s would exactly invest like this. You hold 1, 2, 3 stocks, high cost, no really reshuffling of it, right? Today is different. Today with an ETF, you hold a vast basket of things. You pay 20 basis points, like 0.2% in fees, which is nothing, right? And with an app, you can basically trade for free, right? So I think we need to realize that the way shocks infect you is much different than it was in the last 50 to 100 years, right? It's pretty much buffered. Because I think, let's be honest, in the last 3-4 years, we had horrible macroeconomic volatility. We got COVID-1, COVID-2, we got the war in Ukraine, we got inflation, we got now the reduction of interest rates, right? So many of the young investors who are investing for the first time in their life with us have seen one of the most trickiest capital markets environments, and a lot of crashes, by the way, right? During COVID-1 or 2, we saw some Mondays, Tuesdays, 20-30% stock markets down, right? But then when you have this ETF portfolio, you don't really see or feel it, right? And eventually the market takes care of you. I think that's the beauty of it. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, right? Just stay put, invest in the long run, ask yourself if the world economy is going to grow, if you're a believer in peace and a believer in technological progress, and the rest I think will be fine.
Yeah, I think it's just to understand that it's a long-term thing, and it's going to be easier to don't be afraid about that kind of thing.
Yes.
Can you share with us something new about Trade Republic that we're going to see in the next month or maybe years?
Right.
You told me some super cool things that are going to arrive to Spain, but at global level.
Sure. So I mean, if you look back to the history of Trade Republic, right? We started as a brokerage offering anchored around savings plans. Then last year we went into interest offering, right? Having now the highest interest rate amongst offerings in Germany, Spain, Italy, right? And then just this year we launched a card, like a payments card, right? So eventually we want to make Trade Republic the home for your wealth. So in the next years, we're basically focused on 3 big things. First of all, as I told you, we want to localize in the markets. So we offer you locally the best, most convenient product you can find, right? Second, we want to go further into our banking offering. So you got a bank and a checking account, all the convenience features you really are looking for, and that we offer to you what your customary bank is offering. And third, maybe most importantly, we're going to diversify further how you can invest your money. New asset classes, new products, new things, right? Which will help you to really diversify your wealth better and to, over the next 20, 30 years, make your money grow. Because, I mean, the majority of our customers are 30 years of age in average, right? And the good news for everybody watching is that statistically speaking, you tenfold, like 10 times increase your private wealth over the next 20 years of your life. So between 30 and 50, your private wealth grows a lot. So for Trade Republic, it's a question about how can we have the best products for you over those next 20 years. You stay with us to grow your money, to be happy and successful. And all of that will come with multiple improvements of the app, redesign, and some cool things. And if you look around, many people are working, it's late at day, and still they're working very hard. So we're very focused on shipping these things in the next month to come.
So totally understood. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations for all that you're creating. Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Bueno, hasta aquí el vídeo de hoy, de verdad que espero que os haya gustado. Para mí ha sido un absoluto placer poder haber conocido la historia de Cristian. Hemos venido hasta Berlín para poder compartiros su historia con vosotros. Y nada, si os ha gustado, no dudéis en dejar un like. No os olvidéis de crearos una cuenta totalmente gratis de Trade Republic, tenéis enlace en la descripción y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo.